What's up, you guys? Welcome back.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back.
Someone come get him. So obviously Reece is back to share another crazy story time with you guys.
Sweet.
What's up?
This is awesome.
How's it going?
I love sharing my dirty laundry on this channel of yours.
They love you. Did you know there are people that only come to my channel to see you?
Word.
There's a Reece fan club.
That's awesome.
They're like, more Reece, less of you.
I wish she would shut up. I saw that in the comments.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Shit. This is Jessica Kent. It's the Jessica, whatever.
All right. Okay. So.
She will never shut up.
All right.
So, today we're going to be sharing the story time of why Reece got banned from Italy and why Jessica cannot go there with the man that she loves. Lame.
Well, we think I'm banned from Italy. Yeah. I don't know yet.
We didn't like call them and ask.
we didn't phone a friend and ask them to inquire or anything.
All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
So we don't really know if I'm banned from Italy. We just highly suspect there might be a pending case in Italy. So I guess to start out, if people haven't seen the videos, I was stationed over in Italy, northern Italy. The base is actually called Caserma d'Italy. It's in Vicenza, which is about 45 minutes west of Venice.
It just sounds so nice.
It is nice. It's extremely pretty. Looking back on it now, I was young, had no culture or vision, and I just didn't care because it wasn't like America, and I just really wasted a lot of opportunity to enjoy some neat things.
Yeah.
This not being one of those, I took prime opportunity to make some memories here. Anyway, so to kind of build this up so I can kind of explain it on how it works, and the reason why I got to this position and being in trouble, the base is really small. It was never meant to be a huge installation there. I mean, I'm talking, I would think, you know, the entire lap around, and it's got a wall around the base inside the city. Military base, so it's enclosed.
You didn't clarify, like, you were in the military?
Yeah, I was in the military, I was in the Army, and I got stationed over there. And it had been a base there that was established after World War II.
Oh, wow.
And they were building up this base. I didn't know it at the time when I got stationed there, in effort to have a rapid response airborne unit very, very close to the Middle East for, you know, potential invasions, Iraq, that they knew was going to happen. So they built this up like a year and a half prior to that invasion. So anyway, but that base was never meant to house a large amount of soldiers. You know, it's only got one brigade there, and for those that don't understand what a brigade is, it's probably got maybe 1,500 tops. You know what I mean? And I don't know, I'm shooting from the hip. Anyway, a brigade's not that, it's not a huge unit. So anyway, as they're starting to add soldiers here, the base is not equipped, it's not built up, and to house a large amount of these soldiers at a time, they have got an installation that's got a wall around it, but they have housing outside of the base. So in apartment buildings. So you're actually living very, very close to the base in the community there in Italy. I get this apartment outside of the city, and I don't have a vehicle. And what you do kind of into these, on these bases that are overseas is, they're hoopties. They call them hoopties, and people just buy cars and they're just hand-me-downs. When they're stationed and then they get sent back to the States or to another base, they just sell you a car for $500, a couple hundred, you know, whatever it is. It just keeps getting passed. Well, a friend of mine had gotten one from somebody that was there, and then him and his wife were buying a new car, and so they gave me this car for free. And this car was a piece of shit. So anyway, but it was a free car, and it was an Alfa Romeo. The driver's side door was bungee corded shut through the window in a crack because it couldn't close. So I had to crawl in the passenger side seat, and this is a small car, and I'm kind of a bigger guy. I had to hop over the gear shift, and the linkage had fallen out, so all it had was first, third, fifth, and reverse.
I can't even picture you climbing through a small car window.
It was tough. Anyway, so, and I got this car, but we're deploying a lot. We're going to Germany. We're in and out. I never actually legally obtained a valid Italian driver's license, which you have. They provide the courses and you have to go through it and then register the car and everything else. I didn't do any of that. I was just driving the vehicle, and then I was driving in and on and off post every day. And this is kind of where it got a little choppy here for me.
Can I ask a few questions?
Shoot, go ahead.
What was it like driving in Italy versus driving here?
Pretty interesting. It's a lot harder to obtain a license in Italy. It's a lot more rigorous, and I think that you have to wait till you're maybe 21.
Really?
I think. I don't know.
Let us know if you guys know in the comment section down below.
Anyway, but if you lose your license in Italy, it's really hard to get it back and very, very expensive. They take it very seriously because a lot of the streets are very narrow. You have to assume that this is a very old culture. So, and then it's been brought into, the new world of, the hustle and bustle. And a large amount of these cities have infrastructure and road systems and towns that weren't really built to design around traffic flow.
Right.
So and there's a lot of street culture, a lot of mopeds, a lot of bicycles. You don't want to hit a bicycle person. I can tell you that you'll never get a license again. So
I just want to go there so bad because of the way that the cities are built.
And a lot of stone roads and stuff. Still, it's really wild. But cars are it's not like interstate or infrastructure systems here. They're just zipping around. I mean, it's very wild. No four-way stop signs, not a lot of lights, a lot of roundabouts. You're going to see a lot of those, and people are just cruising along. And then you've got the autostrada, which is kind of like the Autobahn. It's called Autostrada, and there's no speed limit on there. Just kind of like up in Germany.
There's no speed limit.
No, and they've got 3 lanes. In the far right lane is the lane. You can get on and off, and you're kind of cruising. The middle lane would be like the left lane on an interstate here, and it's the passing lane. It's the fast lane. People are getting on it. The far inside left lane is the not in a round lane. Like, you don't want to get in this lane. If you get in this lane, you better have your hammer down, the foot all the way on the gas. People are cruising.
How fast are they going?
Oh, I mean, I would be in the center lane sometimes driving to Venice and probably doing 9, because we're in kilometers here. We're using the metric system. I'd be doing like 90 kilometers, 80, 90 kilometers in the center middle lane. And there'd be BMWs, S-Series Mercedes, really nice cars, some sports cars, blow by me in that inside left lane like I was standing still. So they were doing 130, 140 miles an hour.
Dang.
Easy. So they were flying.
That's not the lane you want to be in.
And you don't get this, like you do here where, people that shouldn't be in the fast lane are over there putting and cruising, the senior citizens or the new drive. People know you don't get in that lane. You're not playing, because you cause an accident in that lane, people are going to die going that fast. So people are, like I said, it's driving is a much more serious deal over there. And they had the deal where you had to pull over if you were texting or talking way before we did here. If you got caught on your phone there, you're going to lose your license. So,
just from driving in New York versus driving in Arkansas, I was like, oh my God, because everyone drives really slow in the South. No one really has anywhere to go. They're all just, they're very, not that they're slow people, they drive slow.
They're just,
I'm a New Yorker, I was always in a rush. I mean, they walk slow. I get road rage walking in Walmart. So, you know what I mean? I could only imagine the differences in driving over there.
So it's a big deal. So, I've got this car and I'm driving around. I'm driving in and off the base. Well, they're supposed to be checking, the security is supposed to be checking, your ID and your, well, obviously I'm in uniform and they know I'm a military service member and I show my military ID, but they're supposed to be double checking your driver's license and things like that. Well, they're not doing this. I'm getting on and off this base, and I know that if I get caught, I can get in trouble. So I'm not doing it. I'm trying to really limit my exposure. Sometimes I would park right outside the base on the street and then just walk in because I was using this car illegally, driving around. But who wants to be walking when you got a car? So I was just skipping all the formalities.
Do they not have cabs?
They do, but it's just much better to have a car. And then living off post, I didn't live extremely far away from the base, but it was still a pretty good walk, you know what I mean? So,
but essentially, you did not need to be driving this car.
I did not need to be driving this car. It was not supposed to be. I was not a legal operator of this motor vehicle.
Then what happened?
Anyway, so to get to the meat and potatoes of this story, this goes on for a minute, and some folks know I have this car, and I'm driving off the base one day, and I'm merging onto a very, you come out of the base, and it's just kind of a merge like you do on an interstate onto a very, very busy road. And I've done this several times, quite often, and I've just like you do anywhere else, I look, but I don't see the vehicle that's coming. And I go to merge and it clips me. And I pull off and I'm thinking, holy crap. And I'm right down the road from where this base is at, where I've just merged off on. And I got my buddy in the car with me who actually had given me this vehicle. He's like, holy crap. I'm like, just go, man. We were close. I said, just walk, just get out and just go. I'll handle this. And we're still in uniform. I've got, your uniform has your last name on it. And I don't have a really, it's not Smith or Wilson. My last name is, it's unique. You're going to,
it's not Jones.
Yeah, it's not Jones. I'm not fitting in. Anyway, So the likelihood of somebody else on that base, I think there was actually one, I'll circle back to this, but there was one other guy on the base that had the same last name as me. So anyway, so my buddy, I tell him just bolt. You don't want to be a part of this. I don't, go. You know what I mean? There's no need for you to be here. I'll take this one. Well, the car finally pulls up onto me. And they start to exchange some stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm kind of blowing it off, and I'm sitting here thinking, what am I going to do? So they say they've called the police, and I'm thinking, and I'm stalling. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm about to get in some deep shit for this. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I got to come up with something, and finally it just gets to me. I'm like, go. And I kind of blow them off a little bit, and I kind of get close enough to my car. I'm thinking, if I wait any longer, the police are going to be here in a second. I dip into that car and pop, I just take off.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
There it is. There's the bad decision. And it gets worse, but here we go. So I get away, and I call my buddy, and I say, hey, man, I just bolted. You know what I mean? I just took off before the cops got there. I was like, we got to get rid of this vehicle. So anyway... So he helps me. We take it to a couple towns over at a big hospital. And we tail the plate off, we tear the VIN off, we try to in the front. So we go to trying to strip this car down and just stash it in the back and way back in the parking at a big hospital parking lot. So think, hey, it's gonna be cool, right?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so some time goes by and nothing happens. And I think I say some time, maybe couple weeks. All right.
Okay, so you feel like maybe I got away with this.
I think maybe I got away with this deal here, and
you're a pretty lucky person. It could happen.
I'm a pretty lucky person, and anyway, and I didn't. I didn't. So what had happened here is, and to kind of put some. To add up how this finally catches up to me, I'd been fighting too within this period of time before the accident, before they actually caught up to the accident and me. And we were at another apartment complex where a buddy of mine lived, and we'd been out drinking, and things got kind of wild. And I was, fighting with the friends, fighting with the locals. I might have put my hand through a couple people's door in the apartment building, and the police had gotten called, and then the Carbonary, which is kind of like the paramilitary, the federal police there, had come, and we were scrapping around, and they went to break it up, and I might have hit one of them. So anyway, so I bolted from that too.
You never told me that.
Anyway, so yeah, so and I'm thinking, all right, so I bolted from that. Anyhow, so this is where it's coming to it. So I'm thinking, some time goes by, and in between the car accident, me fighting. And maybe potentially, you start swinging and you're getting kind of angry, and you swing on anybody that's getting close enough.
No, I've hit a correctional officer.
Yeah, and the carbon area, it's like I said, it's kind of like hitting a sheriff. You didn't hit the city cop, you hit the sheriff. So anyway. And they were trying to break it up. Anyway, I bolted out the back of a building anyway. And of course, I showed up with a black eye. You could tell I've been fighting at work. Anyhow, I've digressed. I've gone off on a tangent.
No, this is good. You think you're digressing. This is all good.
So anyway, and needless to say, I went to a barbecue with the same friends the next day. He comes over, and some guy, it was actually a big guy. He actually had played football for the University of Alabama.
Ooh.
Called him Bear. I'm trying to think of his name. Anyway, I can't come up with it, but he was a big dude. Yeah, I remember his last name now, but he was a driver for the sergeant major. Anyway, he was a big guy, and yeah, we got into it, and he
hit you.
Yeah, he got on top of me and was getting the better of me, and just boom, he slugged me down. I felt my head bounce off the concrete, and he was a pretty big dude. And once I got him up and got him off me and popped him a few times, we said, all right, truce. And then we're both drunk enough by the time we get up into the apartment complex, we'd started a whole nother fight again. So we're into it in this apartment complex, and we're going we're going at it in this hallway. And then the neighbors had called the cops. I put my hand through a couple doors, swinging on him, and cops came, and anyway, so I slugged a cop. And
was this a common thing?
Yeah, you'd be drinking and fighting, and anyway, so I guess he got it settled down or whatever. And what I didn't realize, he'd kind of covered for me because he lived there and the cops had showed up, so he had to come up with some story,
I like him.
Anyway, so he comes to get me the next day. We went to a barbecue together. He's like, hey man, I got this barbecue I'm going to go to. You want to come? I was like, yeah, sure. Come on, pick me up. Yeah. Anyway, so
a bromance.
Yeah, you're good in the military. You kind of shrug that off. It's just part of what you do. Anyhow, so go to this barbecue, and a few days later, said I've got this black eye from fighting and stuff and things like this, and I think I've gotten away with both these incidents. And I'm at home. We'd gotten off a little bit early, and I'm at my apartment. It's maybe 1 o'clock, and I think I'm making lunch or something. And obviously the guy I report to calls me and says, hey, First Sergeant wants to see you at the main building.
It's like the principal wants to see you.
Yeah, and I was like, this is not good. And so I'm thinking, is this for the fight or is this for the car?
It meant nothing.
I don't know. I'm thinking, well, maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe they just want to, maybe I'm getting promoted or something, So anyway, so I'm trying, my mind's racing. I'm thinking, so I get up there, and so as I'm walking up, I'm thinking, I've got my bases covered. The car, scrapped it. It's not mine. Never registered. You know what I mean? So I'm good. Anyway, and then in the fight, I'm thinking, well, surely he covered for me. They'd come looking for me, and they didn't do that. So I'm wrong on both accounts. So the first sergeant gets me up there, and they start to grill me, and they start to ask me, we know that you've been driving a vehicle, and some folks have seen you. It's not a secret. Was there an incident with your vehicle? And I
don't know, was there?
Yeah, and I said, well, I don't think I've ever registered a car here. I'm pretty sure that. And he stops me, and I was pretty well liked. You know what I mean? He goes, hey, check it out, man. Before you go any further with this, you got into an accident, and you were wearing your uniform that had your last name on it. We only have one other guy on this whole base that has that same last name. We talked to him 2 days ago. It ain't him. You know what I mean? We got him together with the person whose car got hit. The Italian gentleman, or I can't remember who it was. It's not him. So by process of elimination, it's going to be you. So before you start trying to tell me any more lies, why don't you be straight with me, and I'll do the best I can to cover for you, or keep it from getting too bad. And he probably meant that. And I said, yeah, man, look, you got me. All right. You guys know I was driving that vehicle. We're always going to Germany to training or doing something. I said, we're just never here that long. I never actually went through the process of getting my license, registering it. So I got it for free. And of course they grilled me a little bit, because what had happened now for this to escalate is, because this incident had also involved the cops, had been a hit and run outside a military installation by a military soldier. And they start to do a little digging. This has finally moved its way up to the general that's in charge of the base. Because what has happened now is, because there's no paper trail to pin this down, there is a critical lack of security measures going on on this base to get on and to get off, because now they know I've been driving onto this base with no license in a car that's not registered, and I've done it several times, so it catches all the wrong eyes at the wrong time about the wrong things.
So you got other people in trouble.
So yeah, lots of people got in trouble. You know what I mean? There was definitely, because when it catches the guy that's in charge of the whole base, and he was a brigadier general, he was a 1-star general, and they start to realize, hey, hit and run's bad. We don't like that. But now what you've done is you've exposed, the military police, a lot of people that are supposed to be in charge of security on and off the base, and it looks really bad, especially to the Italian people now, because they're having to work hand in hand with the community. We're not just telling them, hey, we're propping up a base here. We have to work, we have to work with them. And now that we have to tell them that, this has gone on, it really just is a black eye on everybody. And it does not look good. So, him trying to say he was going to try to keep it from getting bad, he probably meant that, but he couldn't. After this went on a little bit, A couple days go by and he's like, hey, I don't know how this, he lets me know when we follow up. Hey, look, I thought I was going to be able to keep this one from falling down on you. This is falling down on all of us. You know what I mean? I was, he's an important guy, and he's like, hey, look, I basically got my ass lit up yesterday at the general's office. You know what I mean? And, my boss, me, the whole handful of them got lit up. So, and he goes, by the way, now that we're talking about it, there's a couple holes in, Corporal so-and-so's apartment building, and the police have been trying to investigate that because apparently there was some fighting, and then somebody may have possibly assaulted a Carbonari police officer while they're breaking this up. Is there anything that you might want to tell us? Because your hand sure looks like about the size of that hole that we found in those doors up there. He said, you're already going down. You might as well just burn down. And I said,
just grab the shovel.
I said, yeah, well, that was me too. You know what I mean? So, and obviously they had found the vehicle. He said, look, the police have been investigating that hit and run. They found the vehicle so it looked worse. You know what I mean? The military is supposed to be about integrity and honor. And on both accounts, I'm just dipping. You know what I mean? I'm basically got no integrity, no honor, and I'm breaking all the rules, and then I'm caught trying to hide and lie about it.
Because when you put on that uniform, you represent the United States military.
Absolutely, and especially in a foreign country like that, where we're supposed to be getting along with them, abiding by the rules. Anyway, so this is after our deployment to Iraq, before the unit was staging to potentially maybe go to another deployment to Afghanistan, and coming up right on my time of my exit date from the military. So my contract and my 4 years is about to come up. So I'm almost about to ship home. Depending on whether or not they're going to stop loss me and things like that and try to make me deploy. So I don't know. I'm really up in the air with all this. So anyway, I get my Article 15, and they strip me of my rank, and I'm on restricted duty. I have to move back onto the post with all the new privates into the little crappy barracks that they have there. Restricted duty means you can't, you're working 7 days a week, when you get off, you work till 10 o'clock at night, sweeping the parking lots, cleaning. I mean, it's not fun. Anyway, I'm basically in the poo-poo hole.
So you were like demoted?
Demoted. They cut
ripping shit off.
They rip your rank off in a big ceremony in front of everybody. It's really demoralizing. And, and really, it was bad because I was well liked. I was decorated from our first deployment from Iraq. I did
Teacher's pet.
Yeah, it was definitely like, I was the guy, and then I was the guy that got in trouble, and got in trouble in a bad way. And really, that's on me. That was, immaturity, bad decisions. Had I done the right thing and probably owned up to it up front both times, it would have been bad, but probably not as bad.
Right.
Anyway, so caught the ire of definitely you never want the general involved of the post in your business for anything other than maybe to pat you on the back when he's pinning that medal on you. That's about it. That's the only time you want to see him. Anyway, so this is all up in the air. So I'm in trouble. I'm on restricted duty, and I don't know if I'm going to be stop loss. Well, finally I find out that I've got to work through, I've got my military punishment, but now I have to work through the Judge Advocate General's office there on post because I've got these pending legal charges in Italy, in the town, and I've got the city and with the accident and several charges, and then I've got what would potentially be a couple felonies for the fight and hitting the federal police, the Carbonari, and they were trying to work with me and my exit date, and they know that I'm potentially might deploy or might go home, and the process is working a little slow, and finally it comes down that, hey, I'm going home. I'm not going to deploy, but the unit is the unit has got a target date to leave, and I'm going to go home. And I'm starting to work with the judge advocate. I said, I'm going home in like 30 days now, and we don't know where we're at with this. And this is straight up what they tell me in the office. They said, well, if you get a ticket to go home before you actually go to court, I would use that ticket and don't come back. I said, so you're saying I should just take that ticket and run? And they said, have a good day, sir. You know what I mean? It was like, they didn't want to give me any, they knew what legal advice they were giving me, and they were saying, hey, look, if you make it out of here before the charges come up, I suggest you just pack up and leave because they can't stop me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I do. I nothing ever comes due. I don't have a court date, and I finally time came a week out, and I'm processing my paperwork, and I'm packing my stuff up. And I'm thinking, I'm bolting on these. I'm basically out on bond, and I'm about to bolt the country. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So now,
yeah.
15 years later.
15 years later.
He's old.
I'm old.
I can't go to Italy with the man that I love.
I don't know. I mean, they may have dropped.
Can we call Italy?
I don't know.
What do we do?
We might want to call before we just book and get off the plane, catch my passport and be like, oh, by the way, we've been waiting on you.
How's it going, Reece?
Yeah.
We're going to arrest you now.
I mean, my assumption would be that it's probably still floating in their system like it would be here.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're not going to, once you're out of the country, and I'm sure they probably tried to contact the base and the Judge Advocate General's office and inquire when that finally came due and no response. And they basically was like, it was kind of, it was like, he no longer works here. Sorry we cannot help you. You know what I mean? And that was kind of their way of cutting bait, because I was no longer under the chain of command. You know what I mean? I was a civilian. I didn't belong to them. They didn't have to answer for me. That was it. So I'm sure that's probably what they were thinking too. It was a good way, for them to just kind of sweep that whole instance up under the rug, say that guy doesn't work here anymore. It was probably some saving grace, maybe a little bit of, good PR for them just to kind of sweep that one away.
Nope, he's gone.
And just that guy doesn't work here anymore.
Yeah.
Let's forget all about this. Let's go back to playing nice, because, the Italians didn't really like the Americans having that base there anyway. When we deployed to Iraq, they had to bring a lot of the wives and things that were off, because they rioted at the walls of the base. They set cars on fire. They were really anti-war. They were against the United States, invading Iraq. And when that happened, and you've got a base there, this is a security measure.
Yeah.
And obviously the community there and the country was against it, and they let them know about it. So it was not a good thing. So they knew what came with having those bases there, rotating soldiers, people out on the town. We didn't fit in with the culture, you know what I mean? A lot of strip clubs and bars, were being populated with guys that had nothing but time and money on their hands, and they were coming in and out of deployment. So they knew when we all left to train to Germany or something, and we came back, that for 2 weeks we were going to be tearing that town up.
Yeah, so of course they don't.
They weren't hip on us being there. I can tell you that, and we didn't give them any reason to think differently or otherwise.
Right.
So I'm sure it was great for them to just say, hey, that guy doesn't work here anymore. Moving right along. So anyway, that's kind of why I don't think it's a good idea for me to go see the Leaning Tower of Pisa or the Colosseum with Jessica.
I just have to throw the whole man out now. Who wants to go to Italy with me? Just kidding.
Yeah,
so Reece actually had a really difficult time in Italy. He was also curb stomped, and I'm going to leave that story on the card up here.
We got that story. Boom.
Yeah, definitely go check that out after this. But
Italy was good times for me, I can tell you that. Oh, like I said, I didn't.
It's the one place I want to go overseas.
I didn't soak up any exposure to, looking back on it now, I just wanted it to be like America. You know what I mean?
Why?
And it just wasn't, you know what I mean? I was young. I didn't have any exposure to culture outside of the little world I'd lived in and grew up in. And looking back on it now, I really wish I'd have capitalized on that opportunity more and gone to see a few things and really enjoyed, the opportunity I had to be close to that kind of stuff. I mean, I went to Venice some, but I didn't do near what I could have. You know what I mean? I spent a lot of time drinking in bars or drinking, in apartments or hanging out with, the guys I worked with.
There's so much that Italy has to offer.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, if I would have been a little bit more positive about the way I viewed the people and the things the way they did things, I probably could have gotten a lot more out of the people around me, and they'd have been more receptive to help me enjoy their culture and understand it. So
that comes with age, perspective, maturity.
It does.
So you were 18.
For sure. 18, hard charging, did a lot of drinking, and it just didn't line up. You know what I mean? So anyway, the moral of the story is have a little integrity, own up to your mistakes. We're all going to make them. Like I said, I was a well-liked guy. Had I probably just been up front with it, when it happened, it would have been tough, but it probably would have saved me it probably would have saved the people around me that had to answer for me in my chain of command a lot of embarrassment, and they probably could have done more for me on the back end. Yeah. You know what I mean? So really, it was the wrong thing to do. Like I said, it's definitely learning lessons. Like I said, same thing with the culture deal. Age and maturity just wasn't there, and I just made some bad choices. So
I just want to add in here, if you are involved in a car accident, do not leave the scene of an accident. I know people that left the scene of an accident that did 10 years in prison because someone was hurt and they just bailed. Had they stayed there, they would not have seen the inside of a prison cell. Yeah. So do not leave the scene of an accident.
Yeah, definitely some stuff you can take away from there, but it might be a good story about those of you that wonder why we can't go to Italy. So
I can go.
Yeah, there won't be any
Maybe.
there won't be any gondola rides in the canals anytime soon. Oh, by the way, Vicenza is actually the gold capital of the world. So there's
I'm
definitely
just, get out.
all right. Okay.
I'm gonna pout about that for the rest of my life because I want to do that.
We'll
with you.
inquire.
All right, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed this story time. I hope you took something from it, and we will see you in the next one. As always, we love you. Stay safe. Stay sober. Do not leave the scene of an accident or bail on charges in a different country. Bye, you guys. Now I gotta get on eHarmony and find a man that I can go to Italy with.
Oh boy.
So, as you can tell by the title,
As you
I'm
can
trying to
tell
be a YouTuber here.
All right. Okay. Are we on? Are we recording?
See the red dot?
Oh, we're recording. Yay.
Yay!
Okay.
Smile for the thumbnail. Or well, it's like crazy story, so be like,
Oh, yeah, we should be like,
should be like,
it's doing the dice thing too much.
it's all he's got really.